Okay, so today's lesson for 16.3 or pre-lesson is continuing with identifying patterns and also identifying patterns within the coordinate grid graphs. Okay, so we have a chart here. We have x coordinate, we have some numbers, and then our y coordinate, we have some numbers. We need to determine what the pattern is so we can fill in these missing pieces. So as I talked about before, is to look for a pattern. This is sort of like an added level of difficulty because, let me get my drawing tools here. Um, this first pattern, that there's no consistency. There's no two numbers in a row. Okay, so here it's hard to determine what the pattern is, but what you want to look for are two patterns or numbers in a row. So I see two numbers in a row here. So this should help me start out or help me identify what the pattern is. So when I'm looking from the number 9 to the number 11, right, what is the difference between those two? So 11 minus 9, or we want to think of 9 plus what number, right, equals 11. We know that the difference between those two is 2. So it's plus 2. So as we move down our chart, right, on the x coordinate, I'm adding 2. So 9 plus 2 is 11. So when I'm working backwards, right, instead of adding 2 as I go down my chart, I could do the opposite operation, which would be subtracting 2 in order to find out what this number is. Okay, so 9 minus 2 is 7. Now I can check my work because this number 5 is already here. If the pattern is truly 5 plus 2, 5 plus 2 is 7. There is our missing number. Okay, so our pattern for our x coordinate would be plus 2. Now our pattern for our y coordinate, again, these two numbers, there's no pattern here because there's a number and then a blank. But I can look here at these two numbers. I see a 7 and a 10. And I want to look at the difference between these numbers. What happens from the 7 to get to the 10? So I think to myself, 10 minus 7, which is 3, or I can count up from the number 7. So if I say 7, and then I'm going to count 8, 9, 10, that's 3 numbers. Okay, so my pattern is as I move down my chart line, right? I'm adding 3. So if I'm adding 3, I can add 3 to this 1 that's already here. 1 plus 3 is 4. And if I were to check to make sure my number is right, I'm going to add 3 to the 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay? So I can now answer this question. What ordered pair is the solution for the set of data? So this was my missing row to begin with. So my x coordinate, which is always listed first, is a 7. My y coordinate is listed second. That is a 4. So I'm going to look for the 7 and the 4. There it is. That is my ordered pair. So that is my answer. Okay. Let me move over to my next question. All right. Question number 2. Which two sets of ordered pairs would be on the coordinate plane based on the table? So again, what we are doing is we have to identify the pattern here so we can fill in these missing ordered pairs. Now, this one is fairly clear because I have 4 numbers in a row, so I should be able to clearly see the pattern. 4 to 5, right? It's skip counting by 1. So from 4 to 5, I'm adding 1, right? From 5 to 6, I'm adding 1. From 6 to 7, I'm adding 1. So my pattern is adding 1. So 7, right? 7 plus 1 more is 8. And now I can work my way backwards. So I have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. This is going to be 3. And again, as what I talked about, if we're moving up the chart, we're going to do the opposite operation. Instead of adding 1, would be subtracting 1, right? So 4 minus 1 would be that 3. Okay, so I have filled out this missing part. I'm going to just put a mark around here because these are the ones that we need to find, right? Just keeping track of those two. Okay, so now I need to find this y coordinate, and I need to find this y coordinate. Okay, so I'm going to look at these numbers. Now, this is a pattern I haven't yet seen, but let's see if we kind of read them, if we can discover the pattern. So I have 32, 42, 52, 62. So even though these numbers are not even, it's not 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, I am clearly adding 10 to my numbers, right? 32 to 42. If I added 10, right? 32 plus 10 is 42. 42 plus 10 is 52. And you can see it here in your place value. The 3 turns to a 4. The 4 turns to a 5. The 5 turns to a 6. And then these 2's all stay the same. Okay? So I can add 10 to this number 62 in order to come up with this missing y coordinate. So 62 plus 10 is 72. And then up here to find this y coordinate, instead of adding 10, again, I'm going to subtract 10, right? So 32 minus 10 is 22. And again, if I were to check my work, if I read this, I should clearly be skip counting by tens. 22, 32, 42. Yes. And again, the pattern, right? 2 moves to 3, 3 moves to 4, 4 moves to 5, 5 moves to 6. The 2's in the 1 place stay the same. Okay, so the 2 sets of ordered pairs are right here. I have 3 and 22. I don't see 3 and 22 here, so that cannot be the right answer. I see in 3 and 22 here. And then my next one, which is this one, I have 8 and 72. So I have 3 and 22. Okay, so that's this one. 3 and 22 is correct. 3 and 22 is correct. There's no 3 and 22, so I'm going to cross that one out. Okay, so 3 and 22, and then 8 and 88. That's not correct. And then 9 and, oh no. Oh, I see what I did. Oh, okay. I saw what I did here. I have a 9 and 82, and I have an 8 and 88. Neither of those are on my chart, right? But if I were to extend this chart, which one of these would I end up seeing, right? So again, we know here that this is correct, the 3 and 22, because it's right here, right? Now, again, I don't see 8 and 72 here, right? The 8 and 88 is not 8 and 72, and 9 and 82 is not. But if I were, let me move this over to black again. Okay, if I were to extend this table, which one would this be? So if I looked at this 8 and 88, this is 8 already. This is 72. So 8 and 88 can't be possible because when the x is 8, the y has to be 72. So 8 and 88 can't happen. So I'm going to cross that out. But 9 and 82 I don't see here. But if I were to extend this table some more, I can probably see that this would eventually be an ordered pair. So I have on my x coordinate 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? That would be the next number on my table. And then if I were to continue adding 10, 32, 42, 52, 62, 72, 82. Ah, look here. 9 and 82. There's your other ordered pair. So 9 and 82. So C would be the correct answer here. Okay, so you're extending your pattern out, and we could keep going, right? This would be 10, 11, this would be 72, 82, 92, 102, right? We can keep going. Okay, let us move on to the last example. Okay, so we have already a plot, some ordered pairs that are we see our slope, right? Our slope here, where we connect our ordered pairs together. So the question says, if the line on the coordinate plane was extended, meaning if we were to extend this out, or we were to extend it out in this direction, which ordered pair would be on the line? So we need to determine which would be my next ordered pair. We can do this two ways. We can plot these points, these ordered pair points in our own chart, although that would take a little bit longer, but we could absolutely do that. Or we can just continue the line on and see where it matches up with one of these ordered pairs. So I am going to take my construction tool. I'm going to use my line, and I'm going to connect this point, and I'm going to keep going to see where, oh, that didn't happen. Okay, let's see. There we go. Now that looks like a straight line to me. Yes? Okay. So I want to look and see where this new line is. So if I were to, let me use my drawing tool here. If I were to drag this new plot point down, I want to see where it falls along the x-axis. There is no number here, but if we use our number sense, what is the next number in line here? I have a 6, a 7, and 8. So this number right here, if there was one, would be a 9, right? So this is my x-axis. This is my y-axis. Okay, so my first number here is 9. So I'm going to look here. So my x is 9. And again, when you have your ordered pair, your x is always listed first. Your y is always listed second, right? Alphabetical order. So I know that this new plot point falls on the 9 in the x spot. So here, this has to be a 9. So I'm going to look here. I see 7 in this ordered pair. That is not the right answer because the first number has to be a 9. B, this first number is a 6. It has to be a 9, so that's not the correct answer, right? I have a 9 here, so that one looks okay so far. I have a 9 here. Excuse me. That number looks fine. So now I'm going to determine what my coordinate line, or my coordinate mark is when I travel along the y-axis. It hits the y-axis at 6. Okay, so my y is at 6. So I'm going to match this up with my choices here. I have C is 9, 6. There's my match, right? 9, 7 is not correct. Okay, so extending that line out. And again, if we wanted to practice plotting our points, right, we would list this as x first, which falls at the 1. And then where does this meet at the y? At the 2, right? So there's my plot point for that. And then my next one, I always want to list the x point first, which is 3. And then if I drive that across, that is a 3, right? So that ordered pair is 3-3. And then I can continue that same thing, right? All right. I hope that has helped. You are going to go ahead and practice a few of these on your own. And when we come together, we will check our understanding.